Hey guys, what's everybody up to? You've joined the Wicked Lady Hippie. We're at my bar, and yeah, we're live, so I can't let the music come through so much. Uh, there's a copyright thing on there, and I already got smacked about that. And I love to hear music in my background, so it's a real annoyance. In any event, those of you who already know me, hey, welcome back. The rest of you who don't, please stay. I don't make any money doing this. This is social Woodstock to me. I'm an old person. For real. I have bail money. It says it all. Let's see. I'm retired, Army veteran, published author, mother of one, grandmother of two, and my grandson's also an Army veteran. Gives you a good idea. And thank you. I think I look pretty good too. We are on live chat now. I wear all the hats here, so suck it up. I'm not nice when I get up here. I'm not trying to kiss the ring or kiss somebody's doo-doo. I'm up here to say, hey, what the hell y'all doing? Anybody besides me catching the, well, I call him Donnie, but President Trump's little cartoons like The Simpsons? I can't stop laughing. I laugh till I cry on them. By the time I'm seeing two of them, my stomach hurts because I'm laughing so much. And I don't do those sit-ups anymore. Use those muscles as much as I used to. Glad to be back. This is my second channel. I had suffered a really horrendous injury about a year and a half ago, and I literally was down for a year, bed bound for a year. Love that. That was awesome. I'll tell you what, ladies, they lie. The cameras do not add 10 pounds. They don't. No, the cameras don't add 10 pounds, ladies. No. 40 they add, but yeah. Especially if you're sitting in a bed for a year. And you're like, and my husband was my only caregiver, and he's gone half the time. This was after the hurricane hit, was the day I was supposed to have major surgery, and the city was shut down. There was no power anywhere. And it took another 2 weeks before they got me in. The surgeon said, you've been like this for a month? And I've been patched up for a month, no pain pills, Tylenol. So I screamed a lot. My freaking eyelashes hurt. And I kept wanting to just, how's that feel? Just a Tylenol. But they frown on that. And I made it through it. And then it was even worse after they put it back together. And I am the new 12-cent woman. I don't think they do 6 million commoners, as I like to call us Gentiles. I think I lost half of you there. It was a joke. I've much respect for the Jewish community, and it's not just the Jewish; they are Israeli, and we were always called Gentiles in the Bible. So it was just a smile and words there. One of my favorite sayings that the Israelis have is, "May your memory be a blessing." So I wanted to kind of start in that area. I swore after they assassinated, they horrifically murdered Charlie Kirk in front of thousands of kids. They say this was this furry baby that did this with his grandfather's World War I rifle. And apparently the millions of dollars he was paying his security team couldn't figure out that was the only roof you could shoot from. And suddenly there's just nothing. Within a week, they had paved over where he was martyred at, as far as I'm concerned. And I mean, they redid it. You can't, it's all, yeah. Supposed to have been a biohazard, because he bled there. He died there. He wasn't alive when they got him in the vehicle, not from that extended damage. And we never really got most of that. And he was cremated. He's a Christian. They don't believe in that. I know. I kind of do this organized religion study thing. Got thrown out of a lot of churches as a kid. There's some questions they really don't like. Like if thou shalt not kill, why did God say go over and kill Jericho and everything in it? And yada, yada. Hello, yeah, come get your kid. So... And I was adopted. I wasn't adopted till I was 9. So you can imagine. And my poor parents, excuse me, they were World War I, World War II, Depression. So it was hard to get them to even get an emotion. They were so tightly controlled, and they were great people. And we had a huge garden, and we had apple trees, plum trees, and we had everything but an orange tree. Big cherries. I loved those, and the plums and pears. And they would, do their thing with them, and we'd have them through the winter and all that. I wish I'd have paid more attention, really. I was busy off being, I put it this way: I was reading college level at 9, so there was a scoot, and ladies also. I was with the first company of women to train with the men. When we got on the plane, we were going to WAC training, the Women's Auxiliary Corps, which you've seen in the old movies. You were, a nurse, you were a secretary. That was it. You didn't get any training with a gun. You ran this in tennis shoes and a little bit of calisthenics, and you was ready to go. Well, they gave us a choice when we got there, which was Fort Jackson, South Carolina. I'm 9 miles here in Augusta from there, and I'm just an exit off of the base. Since I was 17, I've been with an army base one way or another, so I've always lived by one. And this is the longest I've lived anywhere in my life, including when I was a child. So it's been fascinating. Although my husband's chomping at the bit to move, there must be something wrong with us. We have this huge RV because neither of us like to kind of stay in one spot. I don't know what that's about, but we're retired now. Loving that. As you can see, he's really not up in here. He won't go on camera. My friends won't go on camera. My family will not go on camera. And they want to know how come I'm doing it. And the only answer I got for them is, I do it because it's great. You have a way to reach out and touch somebody in India and talk to them live about whatever we want to talk about. I love a good debate. I love talking about ghost stories. Y'all just cannot in the 21st century tell me that ghosts and demons and shadow folk and all them ain't real. Y'all just can't. Y'all, I've been in the South longer than I thought. I'm from Chicago, and sometimes that South seeps up in my voice. But you just can't tell me that the paranormal is not real. They just can't. I've seen cops run. I saw a camel floating in the Sahara. Yeah, if y'all didn't see that, look it up. Google's got it. I mean, I just kind of had to sit down going, that's really biblical. They showed this hole and this water was gushing out of this hole in a sand dune. So it kind of explains how they flooded everything. You have to excuse me. I threw a jacket on over my work shirt. I've been working in the house all day. So pardon me. At my age, it really shouldn't matter. It's not going to get much better. Like I tell friends of mine, I used to just open the closet door and say, what you got in here for somebody over 60? And suddenly the door jerked out of my hand and slammed shut. I was like, okay, it's time to go shopping. So I did. Let's see. So anyway, yes, I thought that was funny. I also thought it was funny that they started getting all this stuff about Fulton County because I could have told, and it did 4 years ago that was all totally screwed up. We saw ballots all over the damn place, just boxes of them thrown off the viaducts and stuff, all off in the versions of the highway. I mean, you couldn't walk a step on the highway without running into some kind of ballot. I never looked at one. I didn't want to know. I didn't want to be in there. I've also never understood because when this country was founded and started and so forth, and after they beat the British, and really, it wasn't just us that beat the British. It was the Germans who joined us and the French who joined us and the Native Americans who joined us. Well, we weren't going to make that shit otherwise. Just saying. So I thought, okay, this is going on in my country now. So it's kind of and I served my country for many, many years, but I knew it. And I just did not want to get in the middle of that mess. When I was growing up, which regrettably was a bit back, we still had slides made out of steel. You should have seen those suckers in the summer. Talk about smoking. You could see the heat rising on there. People get up there anyway. I'm like, oh, had the round daisies. You got up there and they would do it as fast as they could to make you fling yourself off. Well, centrifugal force had something to do with that, but it was fun. We had the old fashioned rubbered out swing sets, and you could swing hard enough to flip yourself over the bar. That was fun. Yeah, I had fun doing that crap. I really did. But my husband says I went to a resort, not a high school, because I took swimming. We had an Olympic sized pool for the boys and the girls, fencing and tennis and you name it. I tracked and I also did. I just did everything I could do. I was a gymnast for many years until I broke my collarbone, and that kind of puts you out of commission. I don't do that. So it may look easy, it's not. Never did do the cheerleader route. Thought that was silly. Although the hot pants were a lot of fucking fun. Sorry, sometimes that word slips through. Like I said, I don't really have a set topic when I jump up here. I jump up here and I do things like talk about what's in the local news and what's going on and why all of us ain't talking about it to each other. I do see podcasts where people are talking. But the podcasts that I'm seeing, a lot of them are like me that I like. That we're just up here. They pick a topic. One of the ones I like, can't think of his name, Desert Warrior or something. He does. He's legal. He's an attorney himself, and he's very fast. And he's got what's going on, especially with Fulton County and all that. So I mean, I could I could have told you 40 years ago when I first visited here that they was dirty from the top down, honey. They were so dirty and oh God, they could have taught Russia lessons. Still can't. I never. That's the one thing I never liked about Georgia's politicians, and I met many of them, including some governors. I did not have just a small job when I was in the military or civil service. Now, that being retired, I have to be careful because sometimes they won't let that air in that particular place or whatever they say, and I do tend to just rattle on. But yeah, that was yeah, he won that election. If they hadn't thrown millions of votes away, and I saw that personally, yeah, he won. But it was absolutely hysterically funny. The mug shot, I so would have done that. I love it. I love it. I hope you put it in there as permanent. I love tearing down the White House while he's building the ballroom. Just makes him nuts. I just love Donnie to death. He's funny as hell too. If you'd have watched him on them podcasts, you'd have been laughing too. The man is funny. He don't look it, even when he's making a joke. He's got that dry sense of wit. It's just he's funny as hell, and he wanted to be. And he did great on all the shows. I caught him. It's the only time I'd ever watched him. I knew him as a businessman who showed up once on Fresh Prince. And Will Smith, you should still hang your head in shame, and I'll never watch anything you do again. What you did to your friend up there on live television, no. Just hang your head. Just hang your head, boy, and keep it there. And go to church more. Well, at least read the Bible. I'm a lot of these cigarillos when I'm up here. They go out if I don't hit one. I had to quit smoking about 5 years ago, so I get a lot of grief from them. So I don't buy them so that I don't start. Say, my husband will see if I'm low or whatever, and he'll bring me some. Um, oh, I'm losing Nick Pope. I need to go ahead and finish answering Nick Pope. Um, he was what was his title? He was the head of something Defense Department in Britain, and I've watched Nick Pope for a long time. I belong to his group and everything. So, and he's going to leave us this year, and I'm really, really sorry to learn that. I love Britain. It was kind of cute when they found me when I was 30. They were Native American. Well, the sister and I were actually adopted together. She is or was my blood sister. She's gone over. I'm the only remaining member of my absolute family there. And they all wanted us back into the Native American tribe, which they were Creek natives. And my husband is on the chieftain line. And so, we had the outfits, we went around and I did all that. And I kept saying I'm not. And if I am, it's got to be very little because I have strawberry blonde hair and hazel eyes. I was like, I don't think there was too many Native Americans running around like that. Like my sister, she was dark. Her hair was dark. She had olive skin. She had very dark eyes. My husband, same way, his whole family. And they got this redhead. And I would get all these looks. The only time I didn't get, well, no, I got looks then too. I knew I was Scottish, and I would go to the down to Stone Mountain to the Scottish Rites Festival, and I always wore a kilt. I was completely done out. That's just expensive, I must say. And Robert would tell me, my husband, he was always like, "You get stared at a lot because you're just cute." I was like, "Cute? I wasn't going for cute." So yeah, that was funny. When I had my DNA done, my husband said, "Don't do it." My son sent me a gift for Christmas. So I said, "Oh, what the hell? I bet you it's British." I won. Yeah, I knew I was going to say that. It did. My son tried to argue with me that he was not in on the native line of the Netherlands or Danish along those lines, Scandinavian, that area of Europe. And I was telling him, I'd seen his aunt Keith. She was doing things and looking things up, and she knew what shields were what, so forth and so on. And when he finally met his aunt, which was he was in his 30s, or I believe so, and she told him I was a liar. She had never done such a thing. I'd never been in her apartment. We'd never gone to the Watergate together, the hotel, and drank. We never did nothing together ever. And I was like, okay, that must be the what is that? The Mandela effect, or because I remember doing all that stuff. I don't know why she never liked me. Never liked me. And the mother-in-law and I got along fine. In fact, I worked with her, and we were at the State of Agriculture building. We were top level, and we were putting together the food stamp program that you use today. Although back then we called it monopoly money. But I was in on the ground floor of that, and that was really awesome. We got that going. Um, Same with my husband. We were also the Georgia State Fair is run in Perry, Georgia, rather, down below Macon, Warner Robins. And I used to have worked at the Warner Robins Air Force Base, and they brought Kelly Air Force Base in from San Antonio. I love San Antonio. We got married there. I grabbed my guy from here and took him to Texas for quite a while. Nice story. We had only friends at the wedding. We partied our ass off. It was a really great time. Dope family. I loved it. So yeah, we were in on the ground floor, building the Georgia State Fair as well. I mean, we were from the beginning to the end. So we went to it for the anniversary till it was 20 years, and we kind of looked at each other and said, "No, we done did this. We're not doing it. I don't want be exhausted after the third stall and broke. Play this, no, go away." So we left it to the kids, but by then they were off into something else mainly too. Now they got kids, and my grandson's old enough to have had more than one kid by now. He hasn't. I'm really glad about that. It's nice to see that he's already a veteran. He's already got his education under him, and he enjoys the career he has. So I'm glad for him. So that's enough about me in the background. Um, then I'm going to jump in and say, okay, where the hell is everybody not being pissed off about these bastards running around in Maseratis, Lamborghinis? Where is the outcry? You're buying bologna and hamburger at $10 a fucking pound, and yeah, I meant that one. And they're driving around in a Lamborghini and flip flops, and that's the second terrorist organization that we have funded for a decade or more. And I don't hear any hue and cry. All I see is people trying to stop ICE from doing their job. I'd, I, mm, Up in their face and shit. I'd have pepper sprayed your ass. I'd have tased you 2 or 3 times, and they would have had to get you to a hospital. And I would have chosen the one that was the furthest way to get that bullhorn out your ass. That's against the Chicago and a bit of the Army. You did what I said. I don't follow. No, you follow me. I lead. Everybody's too damn slow if you ask me. I also love to have I don't drink normally either. In fact, the family passed almost 201 from cirrhosis of the liver because they all had a drinking problem and a drug problem with one of them. So it was not going to come out well. But I don't. I don't drink. So if I'm not up here, I don't have any drinks. My husband, as you said, took a little bit out. I like my whiskey on ice, so it looks like I'm drinking more now. This is the little bottle I drink, and it's called a whiskey fireball. And that is because I think I add a little more for my ice melt. It's got this real big burst of cinnamon. If you remember those old big red gobsmackers, we called them I would get the cinnamon. That thing would last forever because you couldn't just keep it in your mouth. You had to keep spitting it out. I was cheap. My parents were broke. I had a good childhood. I don't know why people say things that they do. I don't also understand how people can say they committed a murder and it was their parents' fault because they didn't do the what you are what you are, who you are. That's it. You make yourself. You if you don't want to be shaped by things in your past, don't be. It's just it's that simple. There's no I don't get that. Oh, I was thrown off here. I don't know if you can see, I have a new couple of new gifts from Valentine's Day. Some bracelets here. This one is sapphire and diamond. This one is yellow amethyst and diamond. And this one is just simple diamond with rose motif on it. I don't know if the camera's picking that up well. And another, I love watches. And I think I may have showed you the watch, but there's the watch. It's really cute. I like mine loose. And he can adjust them for me. But so that's Valentine's, some of it anyway. Hope everybody else had a good time. I eat a lot of candy. I love holidays. So again, back to this thing in Minneapolis. I understand now we're pulling out. They were they were going to the Indianapolis airport. Their carry-ons had 1 million to 6 million in freaking cash. And they did this for 4 or 5 years, some say a decade. They would go from the Indianapolis airport to Dubai, and then they could wire the money straight to the Somalian head chief of the terrorist something. I can't remember the darn name. It gets me so mad. Silaloa? No, I think that's on the South American side. In any event, y'all know what I'm talking about. And now they were stopping them with $5 and $6 million in cash in suitcases. And these women were all up in there. It's always women. It was always women. I saw one dude. No, this is for the children. This is for the children. This is how we have to feed the children. They're finally getting their Lamborghinis and they're repossessing them, right? And they're going, no, we get the money, we get the funding, we get the funding. You don't take this. I got to take the children. Take your children, and get your ass out of my country. I'm so mad I could chew through nails. It's a good thing I'm not in ICE, though. Like I said, there's no way they would treat me like that. I don't give a flat flip who you are or who you're with, what your opinion is. I'm allowed to have my opinion, and you don't get to put your face in mine because you have an opinion on something. Because then I get to put something somewhere that you're not going to enjoy when I get through. We'll put it that way. I'm an old woman, but I do believe in getting an equalizer, if y'all know what I mean. Come near me, test me. My husband says to me all the time, 5'2", and he says, people really underestimate you a lot. He says, you're a lot stronger than you look. You do 400 or 500 push-ups a week, and you just did a little. I quit doing that, though, by the way, and because I got terribly injured is one reason, but medical reasons are the other as well now. Cheers. That cinnamon. Oh, no. Have me a bit of juice. Oh. Somebody just dinged me. Oh, I get it on my phone. I am the world's worst. Robert, I keep saying Robert, my husband made me start carrying a phone back in 89. No lie. Not a pager, a fucking phone. And back then it was like Sprint was the only one. And you had to pay him a kidney every month just to have the phone. I thought it was a stupid expense, but he had me that and a new car, and he's a great husband. And so I've been on these phones since 1989. And every blooming year, they changed the flipping phone. So I was always learning a phone. That wasn't all. All throughout my career, they were changing my equipment. I started as a secretary and a nurse in LVM with a manual typewriter. So I guess my phone had rotary blades. It was on the wall when they did switch to touch phone. And you had to be a linebacker to get to that phone or be the only one in the house, man. I wasn't running for that summit. No. 4 or 5 of your family members are flying at it. Y'all just let me know if that's for me. I'm not doing that shit. Hell no. I had 15 folk lined up to get that phone. I didn't give a shit who's on that phone. I always had a book. And we had, again, the 3 TV channels. The TV went off at I think it was 10 o'clock. It might have been midnight. with the pattern, I know because I used to have to do guard duty overnight, and you had no TV or nothing. You just smacking yourself and pretending to throw your rifle around and say you gotta stay awake. Wait for somebody to come test you so you can shoot them. I was always afraid of that. Of course, they gave us planks probably, but still, they would put you out in the middle of flipping nowhere too. There was nothing out there. You could actually see stars, man. I never really realized. I mean, I could see them. When I was growing up. I was in suburbia, Chicago, so you could see, and the moon was always brilliant. When it was a full moon at our house, it looked like it was just right there in front of our house. It was awesome. It was just the view that it had. And I'll never forget that the night I left to go active duty, it was still 4:30 in the morning to go uh, get everything done in paper process and all that. So, and yes, my recruiter picked me up. My dad was World War II. He wouldn't speak to me. I don't know. I never did find out why he passed away and would never speak to me again after I enlisted. My mother signed the papers. I was 17. I was through with everything. I had 3 pins. I mean, I had 3 chevrons. Don't do that, ladies. In the military, shit does not roll downhill. Shit rolls fucking uphill. So one of them dumbasses steps the wrong way or decides they're tired and they're going to sit down. They're coming for your ass. Just as an FYI. And I didn't have that done to me more than once, I'll tell you. I told them girls, you can bend, but you don't break. You can bend. There ain't a man on this planet that you can't outdo at this age. They're the same age and older than we are, and they're way more out of shape than we women. Almost all of the women could dance. I danced ballet, jazz, tap. I did all that. We all did, most of us did track and so forth, especially the women from the North. Unfortunately, the women from the South, they didn't really have much education. You had to have a high school diploma in order to enlist back then. I don't know if you do now. I'm assuming that's still the same. But they didn't have the education that the Northerners did. They didn't have the same great opportunities that the North had. We had really great opportunities and they were great schools and they were huge. If you put 5 or 6,000 kids in a school, it's got to be pretty big. We had separate buildings for language, separate buildings for swimming. You had separate buildings for gymnastics and so forth. Separate building for music because there were so many students. We had the old fashioned nuclear tunnels with the signs, yellow and black, the new tunnels, and they were as wide as the street. So they were awesome. And we had police that were stationed in our school. This was during the transition of integration. And that was the one thing that I had actually marched for when I was in middle school. Used to start out at the temp of the house where we lived. They gathered out there, so it was great. I didn't have to go very far to get in. I could go 10 blocks and back home. But that got accomplished while I was there, and I was so glad. Women couldn't wear pants to school, and I'm from Chicago. We'd have 15 foot of snow. I kid you not. You're digging yourself out of the front porch. You're making a hole. You didn't get the day off. You didn't have a snow day. You strapped some snowshoes on, grabbed your skis, your skates, but you took your ass to school. I wasn't getting a bus. I would not get in a bus in the winter because they was always doing that shit. What up, skis? It would live but a couple miles. It'd be, 18 below. You went to school. You might have been like the Michelin man and couldn't move, but barely shuffle on. You went to school. I get a kick out of kids these days. We had some snow, freaked me out. I've been in and out of Georgia over 30 years now because, like I said, my husband's from here and he has a daughter. My son has always been with us, but my stepdaughter went her own way at a very young age. She graduated, but then she was on with her life, just like my son. I'm an exit away. I don't see him very often. I could be like Raymond's mom and just be up in their face all the time, but that's kind of boring for me. So I didn't do that. Mm. And so I wondered if anybody would join me and have anything to say about what's going on with the Somalis having so much fun with millions of dollars. Um, who's going to fall for that? Who's going to really pay for that? Is there anybody going to? All these people that committed treason, all these sanctuary cities that's committing treason is called sedition. Look it up. I used to say look it up when you get a book, but y'all have Google. It's got everything. Go ahead. It's the same with the presidency. Donald Trump will tell you. Old Donnie said, I won the vote and I won the people's vote too. So he won the electoral college vote. And then he says, and I also won the popular vote. So there's two votes. And they're not at the same time. And it's not the popular vote that's first. So who's electing the president? Those sons of bitches that hung up their Tommy guns and threw on times, mobster sons of, and any of I don't like politicians. It's a dirty word in my mouth. That's why you couldn't talk about it when I was growing up. It's just a dirty word. Same thing to me with organized religion. What you gonna do with organized religion? Which one's right? How you know it's right? You buy him a plane, and they still coming. I was like, what do you mean they're still in there? They have a plane. Pass that plane around. Have you seen Rome? You can virtually go anywhere now. I'm gonna move that a bit. You can virtually go anywhere. Anywhere. Go to the Vatican. Go there. Go look at the Vatican. And while you're at it, visit as many other museums as you can find. Why is there an obelisk for one thing in St. Petersburg Square? I don't know, but it's Egyptian, and they took it from there and brought it there and put it there. I don't know what that's about. But the things that are in there, the Sistine Chapel alone, I mean, gosh. I used to, when I was stationed in Europe, I was always running when I had time off, which wasn't that often. So I got the kid. He was born in Germany. I tucked him in like a football. I'm running through the Louvre for the fifth time. You couldn't see it all. The London Museum and so forth. I mean, because it was cool. It's just like being in the States. And instead of France being France, it'd be Alabama kind of thing. So, and the trains ran, or you could get a ferry if you're going across. And so I loved it over there. I really did. I still would go back. I wouldn't live there, though, I'm afraid. It wasn't great when I was there as far as living there. It's great to visit. And when you're working there, it's even better because you know people, and understand the currency. You understand the high end, the medium end, and where to not go and things like that. But in my day, they didn't have a Burger King and a Mickey D's, and I know neither did the bases. No, they had a PX, so you could go there and get your shopping done. But you didn't get to go and have a Mickey D's. I mean, that just was not done. I used to take a cab when I was at Fort Sam Houston in San Antonio. Um, I always wanted every once in a while before I decided I'd go off and get drunk or on my way back, I'd get a cab and I'd go get a strawberry shake. That's how you went. You went out in the civilian world. They didn't have my base. Now I understand there's everything on base. I can go on. I have full benefits, I'm seen and taken care of by the VA. But the rest of it, I don't bother with. I'm a civilian, have been for a long time, and I use my medical benefits, and that's about it. It's like my phone. My husband put me on that in '89, and I was always pissed because in IT, and I was usually in IT, and having to redo uh, my entire section. And no, I wasn't this guy. I was this guy. So if I got it wrong, oh shit, because the bigger guys were waiting on me. And so I was always pissed. You get used to that system and you got everything up and running, everybody's good to go. And at least by the third year, you were getting a new one. And went from word processor to Apple, and finally, we get in the 21st century. And I'm thinking, we're good. I've seen things that ain't been moved. And Robert even talked me into my husband, said, you got to have a computer at home. I'm like, I use these every day. I tell people how to use these every day. No, I don't want them. So I got home and he had one there for me, complete with printer. Back to his dot matrix. Yeah. Back when it's AOL, you got mail time. That's a long time ago. So, of course, now we have the laser printers, and I just print the photos here, which is very cool. This is why I use this medium. I get up here and I don't talk anything really but nonsense and whatever crosses what small mind I have left. Which probably ain't much. Um, and I've still got, and I also mentioned that as well. Besides ice, somebody killed one of my guards people, and it was a female, but she was there working on Thanksgiving fucking day, and they took my soldier's life. And I don't want that to ever, ever be forgotten. That young lady gave her life for what? Nobody knows her name. Nobody speaks about what happened. But now you can walk through DC peacefully. Well, fuck that. I could walk through DC peacefully in the 80s. They weren't killing my guardsmen. Do something. So you see, I get a little bit over the top on certain things. And I have every reason to. And I wonder why nobody else does. Oh, I see on some of the podcasts. I love you. I love you guys. Like Joe Rogan. Hey, guy. Love you. Been watching this news radio. That was a tragedy, wasn't it? I'm so sorry. He's had a great career, but he's well known. In fact, even Donnie was on there. President Trump. I give everybody nicknames. They seem more human to me that way. So I mean, he was Shay Shay. He was everywhere, and I watch all the podcasts when I have time. I'll at least have them in the background. In particular, that year I was down. It was after I had already started my podcast, and I had been on about a year when I was hurt really bad, and so they froze that channel because it wasn't being. I just couldn't do nothing, and so I couldn't put on a podcast every day, and I didn't start again until after I was about halfway through. Learning how to walk and talk all that shit again. So then I started going back once or twice a month, and then once or twice a week. So now I'm trying to go on at least 3 days a week. I can't swear to that one, and I don't do weekends anymore. Uh, I usually have a few live chats. If you guys see me, and you at least thought I was barely funny, you don't have to subscribe, but they like that shit. Maybe hit the like something. I don't know. It's free. What the fuck? If it's free, I'm in. It's something here that we can all talk about together, and I think that's important. I hate what happened to Lu Ming Chung. It was a terrible thing too. What happened? That wasn't too long ago. My husband has just come through. He's on the phone, and I don't think he realizes how loud he is in the microphone because I keep him out of the shot so that he can come through the house as he wants to. So I try to keep them, where he's not in the shot because it annoys him. He doesn't want to be in the shot. He's taken to doing mechanic work. He's a top mechanic as well as he was also a semi driver for 50 years. He taught, he was a driving instructor, and he's an ace mechanic. My car sounds like shit. It's like I'm a great secretary, but my shit at home. Where'd I put that? There's a pile over here. There's a pile. I'll get to that later. And this takes more time than I thought. It's still good. It's the other reason they let me have these because they go out while I'm talking. So one lasts me a day or two because this is the only time I get to have one, just like drinking. This is the only time I get to do this unless it's a special occasion or my friends buy. But he buys me, it's a bucket full of these little bottles. So it's usually a couple of months worth for me to have. So, and I like Jack Daniels. He knows that. And Crown Royal is kind of one of my picks, but they're rather expensive. And no, we don't charge here at the bar, although I think we ought to. People will come here and drink an entire bottle of Jack and not bring a damn thing. When I was growing up, you were taught never to go to somebody's house. No matter if it was for dinner, drinks, what have you, birthdays. You never went empty handed. It was just, it would be embarrassing to go empty handed. You just wouldn't go. It was just taboo. You did not go anywhere empty handed. Nobody that I have met, and now that since my husband and I, so I'll give it 35 years, and around the planet, and we don't just stay in, we haven't just, he's also an Army veteran. So both of us have traveled the world, and we still travel a lot. Or did before we came here, decided to retire, and suddenly we were old, and we're like, damn, because your body just stops you finally and says, no, I don't think so, not today. You'll see. I'm for real about that. You'll see. And if it doesn't do that to you, let me know what your secret is. Okay. And again, he's bothering me while I'm doing my podcast. So I guess in order to return the favor, I will go out there when he's in the middle of something, and I will dance around and parade naked and see if I can interrupt his day. See. Uh huh. Yeah, he's still doing it though. He's okay, dokie. Yep. I am going to pay him back though. He knows better. He's been doing that a lot lately. And he knows better. And he's doing it on purpose. By the way, he's an ass most of the time. Mm. I don't know if that's because he's a dude and they are asses half the time, or if he just decides to take it in his mind that he can just be an ass. He never has a reason. He just shows up and he's an ass. As I was saying, there was a young man that was murdered that I loved watching. I like the Chinese movies and set in history and the beautiful flowing clothes they wear, and they're really great movies. And he was one of the best actors, and he had the most beautiful voice. He sang so beautifully, and he was murdered by his security and his friends. They tortured that boy for 7 days. I find it hard to talk about him. And he even had Flash to help me sign. They just kept him saying, I don't know what they did to him that he knew not to say help, but he signed for it. Nobody saw it till after he was killed. They tried at first to say he was drunk and fell off a balcony of the 15th floor. I'm like, I don't fucking think so. Not this boy. He was an excellent swordsman as well. He was just good at everything he did. But they didn't hardly let him have enough to even buy food. Most of his money, he never saw money for those things. It's China. There's a lot of good actors, both Chinese and Korean, and Jackie Chan is a good example. But he came to the United States because I believe that's the problem he ran into as well, that they were so controlled. If it made money, they didn't see it or very much of it. So, I mean, he made several movies though. Charlie Jackie Chan did. He changed his name. I can't forget. I can't remember what it was before. In any event, he's another one I weep for. I really do. What they did to him. He was already struggling so bad. He was not young. He looks very young, but he was 37. And I thought he was probably 22 or 23. He looks very young. Then I found he had a son. Broke my heart some more, but I was glad that a part of him was still with us. So those things have been going on. And then I call it the plague. I still managed to broadcast through most of it, but there were a couple of times when you didn't see me on through the week because I just was too ill. My friend, one of my friends, Anna, has popped through. She's down in Warner Robins. She usually stays with me when she's up here to visit her granddaughter. She's the other grandmother. She's my daughter-in-law's mother. So then we have both grandmas here. And we both raise hell. We get along like a house on fire. I've known her daughter since she was a teenager. I mean, that's a long time, let me tell you. She didn't have a baby till she was 40, or she was 39 or 40. She didn't have her baby. So they're not that young. Now she would have been 30s because their daughter is 13 now. So she must have been in her middle 30s by then. And I didn't think she was going to have any. She was more of a career woman like me. And surprise, we end up having kids anyway and hanging on. You will sleep when they're 30. Maybe you could try. I only have one. So did she. Yeah, there was no discussion on that. I'm done. I said the same thing. I didn't want kids to begin with because I knew I was going to be traipsing around the world. And yeah, So I had a child, and I love my son, and I only have the one child, and I wouldn't give him up, which became a problem in the military way back there. Um, so yeah, you can't. You have to be responsible if you find out you're going to have a baby. You can't go, oh, I'll have an abortion, let them rip it apart limb from limb, and it's alive. It doesn't occur to them what they would feel like if somebody was ripping them apart limb by limb. It's no different. It's just smaller. There are people that spend millions trying in vitro and so forth and so on to have a baby. If you don't want the baby, you don't need somebody to rip it apart at 6 months gestation. You can just wait 2, 3 weeks or a month or what have you, and put the baby up for adoption. I was adopted. I did fine. I hear these people all the time go, "Oh, they had troubles and they was adopted." No, they had trouble. It wasn't because they was adopted. It wasn't because they mommy didn't slap the fuck out of them. Although maybe that would have helped. Oh shit! I tell you now, my son bowed up at me one time. He was 16, and the little chicken chest. I happened to have been on the phone. I was calling work at the time while they were calling me. I was a reporter photographer for a small newspaper at the time in the city I lived in. That was huge too. Anyway, he came up and kind of bowed up at me and said, "I am going to school," and I'd done told him to get ready, get in the car. I had to go, and he told me he wasn't gonna. He wasn't going to school. He was going. He was something to that effect. And when he woke up, he was at school. He told her, he still tells that story. Don't piss her off. I just turned around and bop, I hit him with the phone, and I caught him in a, man down. Took his ass right on out there, put him in the car, shoved him out of school. I called school before I got there. I'm gonna shove him out. If he gets out, it's on you. Shut them doors. We had schools, as I was saying earlier, we had our own police force in there. They were regular police, and that was their job. They did like a rotation. So they were real police. This wasn't rental police. These were real police. And they had made the doors where sections would close off and lock. And it had bulletproof glass in it and the mesh and all that. And they had tear gas, and they would tear gas those sections. We used to have riots. That's the way it was in the 70s, and there'd be riots. And there was a reason I was in karate since I was like 8. You know, at 5 foot, and then I wasn't even 5'2". Like when I got freshman year, I was like 4'5". You know, a little munchkin shit. But I had big friends. But that was so it cracked me up when I got in the army, and they said you have to go through the tear gas chamber, and you're all geared up, and you have to do that at such time. So you practice all that, and you have to recite your name and social security number, and then you can leave. But you have to take your mask off to do those, to do the recitation, and then you can go. I came out just laughing my ass off. Is this it? I wasn't, my tears, I hadn't teared up. I hadn't got to say, I was just, walking calmly on outside. And it ended up on the front of Stars and Stripes because my CEO and XO were standing there waiting because we were the first female company to train with the men. So they're watching to see if they got us with that one. And some of the girls did hang too. Well, they made it, they did it. I was one, and then I had my last name was Bullock back then. So generally, they're going by alphabetically. Sometimes they'd start on the end, but most of the time, be the beginning. So I was out there pretty quick. I maybe it just didn't have a lot of time to fester in there. I don't know, but I thought it was funny as hell. Because when they tear gassed us at school, we had the little windows we could open the windows. So you see all the kids hanging out the window. I had one hell of a high school. I really did. When I think about it. But yeah, so we ended up on the front of Stars and Stripes because the X and the CO are like fucked up. It's like this cloud came just enveloped them. Funniest picture I've ever seen. I've tried to find it. as I got older and we had these, I was trying to find it, and because you should be able to get it from the morgue, and I've not been able to find it. We were on the cover of Parade magazine in the late '60s. I don't know if it was '66, '67. I can't recall, but there was we were adopted. The parents were older, like I said, and they were given a stipend every month for the kids, so they were 18. It was brand new, and so we were on the face of the Parade magazine because all my friends went out on vacation, usually in Michigan or somewhere, and they all come running up. You're on the news. You're on the news. We're like, oh god. My brother didn't even want to do it. They made him do it. He's in, I think, only two of the pictures because there was a spread and everything, and then there's the kids and the parents on the front cover. And my brother snuck out of that one too. And I still miss you. And so, it was a different childhood that I had than most that I've talked to, even those from that are, it was very different for them. But being adopted or having parents, I don't think that's got a damn thing with how you turn out. You are how you turn out. If you want to change your life, you have that. It's called free will. They have books. They have Google now. It's even better. You can change anything. Apparently, your name, your number. you know, like I said, I had a phone now since '89. They finally stopped making them and change them out every year, although most people still are. I asked my grandson when he was getting ready to go to Korea, he got a new phone. And he was showing me the phone. I was like, well, okay, that's great. Um, how much did you pay for this? Because it had three cameras. And he said, oh, that was 2000. I almost dropped it. What? I won't pay that for a fucking car. Maybe 2 grand for a phone. I buy a Droid, the little $49 one. It does fine. It rings, you pick it up, you answer, they talk. It's yeah, I don't get that $2,000 thing. I don't get it. If I use my laptops, my Chromebooks, my tablets, and I have several, as you can tell. And I just update them is what I do with mine. I will end up getting what we call the death screen uh, every time I turn around. It seems, especially the laptops, they've gotten to where they made them cheaper. If you get a blue screen and you're trying to update, that's your death screen. It's not going to update. It's never coming back to nothing. You just lost everything. Just an FYI, just so you know. I don't know how you can prevent that. I've never been able to. I'm sure somebody knows, but they're not telling the rest of us. So I see my time is almost up. And I didn't get any takers today. If any of you see me, do hit like, put dislike, tell the old lady shut up. Tell me something you'd like to talk about. If you know a ghost story, if you know somebody who did this, that, or the other, if you're proud of this, that, or the other, if you're angry at this, that, or the other, let's talk about it. I love being at the bar. When I first started this, there weren't too many people that were broadcasting from a bar. Joe has, of course, you can drink, have cigars. It might as well be a bar. But I literally am at the bar at home, and there weren't too many of us that did that. So I thought this was great. And I had a fairly good viewership. But I've opened my second channel, and I added only the word wicked at the front. My army nickname was Wicked. It's another story. I should write a book. I should write a book. So I thought, well, this is great because, I was getting a following. There were people going, I don't like this shit either. Why are they doing this? Why are they putting immigrants, and that's a kind word, into hotels when our veterans and their dogs or what have you are living in a tent, if they're lucky, in the street and starving to death? Mm. That's also one that's guaranteed to piss me off no end. I can't even describe how angry I am at a public system that I call America can do this. I mentioned sedition earlier for a reason. They called it the Civil fucking War, folks, over sedition. These states withdrew. That was sedition. These states, these sanctuary states, have withdrawn. They do not listen to federal law, and yet they're getting federal money. The other thing I'm way pissed about is why the absolute hell are these Ivy League schools getting hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer money? Why does Cambridge get 5 million? Why is Harvard getting 6 million? Please explain that to me. Because here in the South, it's one of the worst school systems I have ever seen in my life. Anywhere in the United States. Hands down, the worst I've ever seen. And I have lived in 7, 8, 10 states, a couple of countries. Never seen nothing like it is here in Georgia. It's horrific, these schools are. My granddaughter is mainly homeschooled. She still can only write cursive because I taught her. My son, he likes printing. I hate printing. It takes me 5 hours longer to write 3 sentences than it does to just use cursive. But they can't hardly read it already. And they just started using this print system when my grandson was in his third, I believe, junior year of high school. They're dumbing down the kids. They're indoctrinating the kids. And if the parents go up there on parents' night and they're allowed 5 minutes to talk, they are then pepper sprayed, tased a couple of times, and then carried out by 5 burly cops and thrown in the hoosegow. I got a president fired. I got a principal fired. I got a couple of teachers fired because of the shit they were trying to teach my kid. Nobody tased me. The parents should be allowed to say, you can't teach my kid that. What are you talking about? And there's separation between religion and school. You can't tell my kid to sit there and act like a Muslim on a prayer mat. Have you lost your mind? Carry him out. That one also. Surely somebody wants to talk about those. Is everybody just scared of everything? I mean, they did weaponize the IRS. I mean, if they can take down a former president, ain't no point worrying about it because if they want you, they going to get you know how. You might as well get up here and talk about it before they do. It's free. It's us. It's America. And the other thing I wanted to add before I got off, if anybody wonders why it's called the United States of America, I'll tell you, you don't have to look it up. Because after the Civil War, the states reunited after they had gone and done sedition. They came back to one country. And to remind us of that, they became the United States of America and not just America. Think about it. It's something. Come and see me if you want to. Don't if you don't want to. That's the great thing about America. We really don't give a shit. In any event, I got to go, guys. By now, if you did come see me, I think I would know, but I really don't pay attention to the numbers. I usually don't edit. I don't even generally watch it myself. I can understand why stars don't watch their movies now. Like I said, I get over here and talk about whatever crosses my mind, or if somebody pops up, I see a lot of people using, dropping videos and they're talking about that video. That's not a show. I can drop that same video. I don't need an hour of somebody talking about that video. I don't need that. I need an hour where somebody's talking to me and telling me what they think about it. That's different. But to keep showing video after video, and they're not really doing anything but showing videos, everybody uploads the videos if you want to see them. If there is something you want to talk about, and you want me to throw a video up there, I'll be happy to do that. But I prefer to get up here and just go one-on-one. I love a good debate. I love a good chat. And definitely like having a drink or two with everybody else. In the meantime, man, stay cool. Peace out.